Welcome one and all to another edition of We Welcome Your Teams. The end of the season is nigh, as we record at least. We're not far off. Here is my regular co-host, Mr. Alan Keegan. Alan, the end of the season is nearly here. You must be mighty relieved.
Well, I am. I certainly am relieved, Richie, because obviously it's been a roller coaster at Old Trafford, and it's been an interesting sort of season, And I'm glad to say, unlike your good self, Rich, it's got better. It's got better as the season's gone on. So it's been absolutely fantastic. And Michael Carrick's come in. It started to work. I mean, if you'd have told me when Carrick came in that we'd be sitting in third or fourth or in a Champions League place, I'd have bitten your hand off. So listen, it's been a great end to the season, I think, at Old Trafford. And we'll take it. Champions League football, where United belong.
Well, I'm pleased to say, yeah, and I'm kind of in similar good mood as you are because, as you probably know, West Bromwich Albion this season survived relegation twice.
Yes,
because we had we thought we'd survived by beating Watford, and then we got knocked points, so we had to survive again by getting a draw against Ipswich. So we left it very late, and I don't think anybody wants to go through that again. But
No.
The season did finish on a high because there have been some strong rumours of a new sound system. Now I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Wow.
Because I know it's been something that's popped up a few times, but the rumours have been stronger than ever before that there are new speakers and things being put in the Hawthorns. Now, I like I said, I don't want to curse it because it's the last thing I want to do, but should that happen, my word, just hear me. Just hear me in some cases, depending on where you sit in the Hawthorns. So yeah, fingers crossed. I know we all love a break. I know we love the job, and we all love the summer break. But I couldn't be more excited about August already, and it's not even the end of May. So this is where we are. Now this week's episode, our guest has just joined us. So this episode is something slightly different to what we normally do. And this is something, Alan, that you brought to the table that I was mighty excited about it. So just before we introduce our guest, Alan, do you want to just explain a little bit about why this particularly was an interesting guest for you?
Well, more than interesting, because he is, in the world of football, we use the legend too loosely. And for the very first time on our podcast, we have a stadium announcer legend. I mean, I know he's a man with an amazing CV. And on his CV, this is probably way down his list, but this is an incredible guest to have. Introduced by a mutual friend. He knows the history of Manchester United, but also a tapestry of the world of football. And I'm sure we'll be talking about other things that he's involved in, especially a team close to my heart, apart from United, the mighty Stockport County. But we're gonna drill it down and talk to this man because we're delighted to welcome on our special podcast today a legend, a stadium announcer legend, a man who's been there, he's done it, he's held the mic, he's spoken to people far and near, and he is, of course, Alwyn Thompson. Welcome to our podcast, Alwyn. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I can't believe that introduction.
Well, it is you, Alwyn. It is
so
unscripted. Sorry.
Alwyn, wonderful to see you. So just tell us, when were you the announcer at Old Trafford?
Between 1965 and 73. So you've got to be pretty old to remember me even. So I don't know about all this talk about being a legend. Nobody's ever heard of me.
Well,
so,
but this
over 50 years ago, Richard.
It's very rare that we get to speak to someone who held the job of stadium announcer in that bygone era. And and of course it was such a special era at Manchester United as well. But I mean, this is the first time we've ever had two announcers from the same club on from different eras, and I think it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I mean, from my point of view, with it, Alwyn, how did you get your job? You've got a very interesting sort of trail and stepping stone how you became that, and then obviously we're going to talk about the endless sort of development with the world of football. But how did you get the job at Man United doing what we do?
I was a ball boy when I was 11, and I think you finished being a ball boy when you were 15 or 16. So that was a great, that was a great experience. Love that. Because you were next to the players, you were near to the players before and after the game. So a boy's dream to be a ball boy, walking in the same corridor as, the players. And that came to an end. And then there was a scoreboard at the Old Trafford end that I used to operate that gave the ground the half-time scores and the full-time scores. So I've done that for a couple of years, enjoying that, because anything you do at Manchester United as a 17 or 18-year-old, you're going to love, aren't you? You're going to thoroughly enjoy. And then one day, sort of shock and horror, somebody comes, knocks on the door of the scoreboard. I go to the door, open it, and it's a colleague of mine saying, "Mr. Olive wants to see you." Mr. Olive.
What have you done wrong?
Absolutely. So Mr. Olive was the club secretary that ran everything, apart from the way it looked to me, this was the man that ran everything apart from the football. And everybody was a little bit in fear of Mr. Olive. Some used to call him Les, but not me, not me. Dare not go, Mr. Olive, yes, sir, yes, sir. Chief Operating Officer and Headmaster, Mr. Olive wants to see you. So I sort of, full of trepidation, go to his office, knock on his door. And he says to me, "Oh, just sit down a minute, Alwyn, I'll just finish this." And I'm looking at his desk, and there are files on the left-hand side, sort of 12 inches deep, and files on the right-hand side, 12 inches. And I'm thinking, wow, what a busy man. I could, sort of looking at this thinking, I could never do this. Right, follow me. So off we storm out of his office, through the Old Trafford stand to the halfway line, go to the main entrance that, obviously you know what I'm talking about, Alan. Up the stairs, turn left. There's a director's box on the left, and then turn right, and there's this little office called the PA room that I had never been in before. So I'm mystified as to what the dickens is going on. So he said, he gives me an A4 piece of paper and says, "Read that to me, Alwyn." So I go, "The next match at Old Trafford is between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. Kick-off, 3 p.m. All tickets for this game have been sold." Right. He puts a microphone in front of me, flicks the microphone on, signals to me, "Do it again. Go. The next match at Old Trafford is between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. Kick-off, 3 p.m. All tickets for this game have been sold." He switches the microphone off and says, "Great. You do that at 2:15, 2:30, 10 to 3. I'll be back to see you for half-time." And that's how it began.
Wow.
Wow.
And so were you inside the PA room at this point to do those announcements?
Yes. So you're in the PA, and the PA room is a small room with 2 people in it. You're full.
Yeah.
Is it still the same today? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, Alwyn, that's a whole podcast on its own, because I'll have to take you for a little tour and go down memory lane. When we go for lunch, I'll take you and I'll show you all this again. But no, it's totally changed.
Wow.
You've got people. So at Old Trafford now, if there's a safety announcement, someone else does that. I don't do the safety announcements, but in the room that they're in, you've got VAR people now who operate the screens, not the VAR referees, but people who control all the screens. So it's a whole different room, Alwyn, and it's just it's just got bigger and bigger. But
Sure.
the way that's worked for you, that's incredible. So was this 1965?
I'm just yes, I think it was 65. I finished in 73, and I think it
Right.
began in 65.
And was this what was this the beginning of the season, or what was happening before you? Was there somebody else who did that job, or was that a total change? Tell us about that side of it.
It was done by a chap that was an ex-player. I'm just trying to recall his name.
Harry McShane.
Harry McShane.
Yeah.
And Harry McShane used to play records and then do the ground announcing, the club announcements.
Yeah.
And Mr. Olive told me that because of his accent, they must have had one or two, can we have somebody that speaks Mancunian rather than Glaswegian? Because
Yeah.
so I think that's sort of how it became. He wanted somebody doing the ground announcing, the Manchester United business,
Yeah.
ticket allocations and so on. So Harry used to play the records. So, he did that thing, but I did the club announcing at the specified times that I was told to do it. So we worked together for a number of years doing that.
Oh,
brilliant.
So
I'd no, sort of training, no experience of it. It was just, he must have just thought Alwyn might be able to do this. Gave me this 30-second trial, and that was it for a number of years.
Wow, absolutely brilliant. Well, you certainly had a good run. If you don't mind me asking, so did you have, in inverted commas, and we always ask every announcer this, what was your proper job?
I was working for a firm called James Stewart's in Hardwick Green. So left school, worked for Stewart's at Hardwick Green.
I know it. I was born near there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in Longsight.
And that was a credit drapery business.
Yeah.
So, in the hard days of the 1960s, if you couldn't afford a suit, James Stewart would sell you a suit, but you would pay for it over the next 6 months. So I started in the packing room, which wasn't very pleasant, and then went into the office, and then you were given at what's called a round, where you collected all the money that was due and tried to sell them something else while you were there. So a very not a very attractive beginning, really, but that was how life was in those days.
Yeah, yeah.
Richard,
a different world altogether, isn't it?
I'm getting this wonderful picture. So did you have a separate suit or attire for doing the job as Alan does now? Well, I do as well at West Brom. Yeah.
Well, yes, I did, because from what you learned from a ball boy was that the players, to me, were always very, very smart. Manchester United players were just dressed immaculately, and that sort of rubbed off. You learned that. You thought, if you're going to do any good at this football club, or make an impression, you've got to be smart. You've got to look the parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was a very big learning curve to look good. Even if you weren't good, you had to look good, and
it's a slightly different story now, Alan. I don't know if you get to watch the bit on the telly where they show the players walking into the game before the match, but that smartly dressed suit thing is it's a thing of the past.
Definitely.
Yeah. Times have definitely changed with the attire. I've got a million questions, Rich.
Yeah.
Do you want to follow it on from where we're at the moment?
Okay, I was gonna say about the other, the duties you had on a match day. So what was your did you have anything else to do apart from reading those announcements out over the mic?
Things evolve, don't they? So you're given a job, sort of read this at 2:15, 2:30, and 2:50. And then, so that was the pre-match. At half time, I had to go into the director's lounge and announce the half-time scores of Division 1 and Division 2. So you had to do that personally. So you got to be sort of reasonably smart to enter.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, yeah. And was that on a microphone in the room, or did you just have to, chink a glass and get everyone to quiet and listen up?
Somebody used to tick the glass. Somebody else would,
Oh,
say,
okay. Yeah.
quiet please, quiet please. And then they'd notice
Yeah.
I was stood in the corner. And off you go, Division 1, Division 2.
Is
Back
this with
in-
Louis Edwards and all them in the room?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been nerve-wracking for a young man.
That was a great learning curve as well. It was, because the first time I had to go in there, Mr. Olive said, right, go in there, knocked on the door, and you walk in and you think, all these faces looking at you, very easy to be overwhelmed. When you've done it a few times, you get confidence, and it helped me enormously, sort of. You learnt a lot at Manchester United that helped you in future life. So you'd do that at half time, then you'd be back in the PA room and you'd announce to the dressing rooms the scores, the half-time scores, and you'd do that at full time. So that's how things began. And then it sort of got to the opposing team, the visiting team would get to the main entrance. Directors were shown upstairs, players were sent to the dressing room. Players had tickets that were at Old Trafford that they wanted going to the parents or the friend. So I'd do a bit of gophering there, take these to this, do this to this. I'd be the sort of gopher for the for the visiting team. And then what happened was we signed two players. I think they must have been signed fairly closely together. Ian Story-Moore and Martin Buchan. And Martin Buchan became
Aberdeen.
absolutely
From Forest and Aberdeen, yeah.
And because they were fairly new signings, they'd not got homes, so they were both staying in the same hotel in Salford. So I used to take them back to the hotel at the end of the game, where the wives would be, and we'd have a cup of coffee together and so on. And another lesson, another big wow to me. If we won, it was just a joyous occasion. If we won, it was laughs, it was jokes, it was get to the hotel. The wives would be, sort of everybody having a great time. If we lost, I'd never experienced anything like it, because the car would be silent. And you get to the hotel, and the wives knew the score. They'd be silent. So you just sat in this room having a cup of coffee with nobody breathing a word because they were so depressed, so broken-hearted not to have got points or not to have got the win. So it was just dramatic to me in terms of, I used to play football. If we won, it was okay. If we lost, it was okay. But this was serious stuff. Sort of how dramatic, how seriously it was.
Just announcers driving players around.
Sorry, Richard. Did you take them in your own car, or was it a club car?
No, my car.
Brilliant.
Just another world, isn't it, Rich? It's another world.
In these days, you'd have to put that on your insurance when you file for your renewal. Yeah. You'd have to, I remember when I first applied for my insurance when I became a radio presenter, they'd whack up the premium because they used to say, there's a chance that you'll have, celebrities in your car.
Yeah.
I was like, how's that going to happen? I can't see how that's going to happen. And it never did. I did give a lift to Steve Stone once, but that's another story.
Yeah. I mean,
I certainly didn't tell my insurance.
Yeah. Sorry, Rich. This is interesting.
Yes, so there was no thoughts of insurance, no thoughts. Take the lads back to the hotel, Alwyn. Yes, Mr. Olive.
So this is probably in the season 71-72, isn't it? Because Buchan joined, I think, later on in the season in February of 72. So, obviously by this time, I mean, you've been the announcer a few years. There's a lot of trust there, isn't there?
Yeah, yes, but of course, I was the invisible voice. I wasn't stood on the pitch. I wasn't sort of part of. I was just doing the club announcing in a very humble way, just doing my best every week, and loved every minute. Being at Old Trafford is just a thrill, just a great thrill. But not trained, not developed, not a career move. Just do this, Alwyn. Do that, Alwyn. Yes, Mr. Olive.
Yeah, well, exactly. Did
Not many of
Mr.
us, I
Olive,
feel, are invisible voices
when
anymore,
did
are
he
we?
leave the club? Do you know
When did I
he
leave the
left
club?
No, when did Les Olive leave?
Oh, way after me, because I went from James Stewart's to Cadbury's. So
Promotion.
in sort of 1973, I joined Cadbury's and had to go up and down the country, and that was my job, that was my career, and I had to sort of say to Mr. Olive, I can't make this Tuesday night, I can't do Wednesday night. It just got to a point where it needed handling properly. He did, and then a chap called Tom Tyrrell took over
legend.
from.
Another legend.
Well, he was a sort of BBC presenter, wasn't he, Alan?
That's right. Yeah, he was a radio presenter, and he covered a lot of sport. And he worked for a very prominent station back in the day, Rich, called Piccadilly Radio. So he was a prominent broadcaster, Tommy. I mean, sadly, he's no longer with us, but he went on to write a lot of football books, didn't he, Alwyn, on Man United? And he collaborated with a journalist who Alwyn will know called David Meek. David Meek was the principal Manchester Evening News writer, and he would travel abroad with the team when they played in Europe, and the old Trilbys and all that sort of style. But yeah, I mean, Tom Tyrrell, a wonderful man, and there's a historian and an author called Wayne Barton, Rich. You may have come across him, Alwyn. Wayne is a young, well, not up and coming. He's written many books. His first book was Brian Greenhoff's biography, but he's was given by the Tyrrell family, Richard, a lot of old tapes of Tom Tyrrell's radio broadcasting, and he's just digitized them all. Nice. And he's got interviews with Sir Alex when he joined United that no one's ever heard, like extended interview, where you did 1 minute soundbite, but it was a 5-minute piece. So I mean, listen, it's intriguing, Rich. I don't know which way you want to take this because it's so different and so interesting. I'll let you take it down the next road.
I just wonder how it felt as you got into the job and you were doing it for years and years. I know you mentioned how you were kind of the invisible voice, but there obviously were a few people who knew that was what you did, and you were, for want of a better description, the voice of Old Trafford. How did it feel as you went on through those years and carried on doing the job? How important did it feel as regards to the role at the club?
I mean, when you say the voice of Old Trafford, that would never have occurred to me. Sort of at the age of 17, 18, the voice of Old Trafford is Alan, not me. Alan, you chaps that do it now are celebrities. You're part of the culture, you're part of the warm-up, you're part of the music, you're part of the last 15 minutes before kickoff. The theatre begins, doesn't it? You help build the anticipation, build the expectation. Not like that for me at all. I was just reading an A4 piece of paper in a darkened room, talking into a microphone, doing what I was told. So it never, my parents knew I was doing it, clearly. My family knew I was doing it. Close friends, but it wasn't something that I went about talking about or broadcasting, or in any way thinking I'm the big I am, because that just was not the case.
And nobody ever said when you were queuing up in the supermarket, "I've heard your voice somewhere before. Where do I know your voice from?"
My parents used to say to me, there's a chap sat behind them who used to say, I wish this announcer would clear off. I can't stand it. So there wasn't any praise about it. There was criticism about that.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that hasn't changed.
Yeah, that's still there, Alwyn. Don't worry about that. don't take that personal, honestly. So it comes to the time where I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, Rich, but it comes to the time where the teams are coming out. Did you actually introduce the teams as well? I mean, I'm assuming you couldn't see the pitch, or like you say, in a darkened room. You didn't have a window or anything. You're just in a PA room.
Couldn't see the pitch. So when I'd done my 10-3, this is the team, this is Manchester United, this is Tottenham Hotspur's team, over and out till half time.
Okay. All right. So no goal announcements, no substitutions, extra time, added time, any of that?
Substitutions, yes, I remember.
Okay.
How
did that work?
So you needed to know who your subs were and who was coming off. So I think you didn't usually say, I didn't used to say so-and-so's coming off, and so just today's substitute is... So there was no real interaction. It was a bit, you weren't responding to events. You weren't, looking at subs or talking about extra time, or 10-3 I'd finished until half time. Half time came, full time came, take some of the players back to the hotel. So it was just
Richard, there's a new job for you now at West Brom. When you finish, you can bring the players back to the houses or wherever they live. It's good.
I give the floor manager a lift home sometimes, but that's about it.
Yeah,
that's as celebrity as it gets. Yeah,
I know. It's unbelievable.
I'm guessing as well. I mean, now nowadays we have a mountain of different equipment that we're dealing with. We have in some cases uniforms and security passes. And all that kind of stuff. I suppose when you turned up, you saw someone at the front door who let you in and off, or in you strolled, and that was it.
Absolutely. There was a staff door, under the main stand. There was the usual steward manning the staff door. You'd go, hi, you'd be in the ground. That was it. And then there was a big sliding door to the dressing rooms. Same steward, morning, afternoon, hi, because that was it. There was no security passes. Didn't need it. Nobody knew of them. They weren't. I suppose they weren't invented. You just knew the steward. The steward knew you. Off you go.
Did you ever have to do anything with regards to, I don't know, Alan mentioned it earlier about safety messages, sometimes announcements during a match for certain things, if someone passed on a message that had to be read out over the tannoy?
Two memories there, Richard. I can't remember what it was, but Mr. Olive came to me one day and said, this is important, read this. So and announce it at, say, 2:45. Now, I can't remember what it was, but it was something FA connected, some new ruling. And it was a long A4 piece of paper. And I started to read it, and the ground went a bit silent. And as I continued to read it, the ground went more silent and more silent, because this was an important piece of information. So when I'd finished it, there was total silence, which I could hear, through the walls, because usually I didn't know if anybody was listening to me or not. But this one piece of announcement sounded very important. So that was one-off. But regularly, during a game, something had come in that I had to read, at half-time or full-time. And it would be something like, this is a message for Terry Smith. who got separated coming into the ground. Your brother is at the main entrance now. So if you could make your way to the main entrance, your brother is waiting. That's a message for Terry Smith. And those sort of things used to come in, so all very plausible, or just read it, that's what I did. But then I found out, I don't know how, that these were police messages. And Terry Smith may have not turned up for bail, or Terry Smith may have escaped out of Strangeways prison, and this was the way the police could sort of have a bit of a pop at trying to catch him. I don't know whether that happens today, Alan, I don't know.
No, but it's a great story, isn't it? You turn up and you get the cufflinks on.
That's great. I just love the fact that the first thing they did once they broke free of Stranger, I think, right, I'm going to get into the United game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Best way to celebrate freedom, go and watch United.
Yeah. What's your fondest memory, Alwyn, of announcing? I mean, obviously your role is slightly different to ours, and we have a visual, which obviously enhances our experience as we're watching the game while it's going on. You're in a room just reading out scripts, etc. certain times. But have you got a fond memory? What's your fondest memory overall?
Okay. What springs to mind is my worst memory. Can I tell you about my worst?
Oh, yeah, we love that on here.
We love a clanger.
Yeah,
we love a clanger.
Yeah.
So it must have been a Saturday where I say to a colleague, right, see you next week. So he says, no, Tuesday night. Tuesday night? What do you mean Tuesday? England under 21s are playing on Tuesday night. We've got a game Tuesday. Oh, I said, didn't know. Right, see you Tuesday. So I think, well, that'd be good. England under 21s, never seen England under 21s before. So the game, I turned up normally. Information is there for me normally in front of the microphone. Ready to go, and I think then I have this, wow, wait a minute, who are we playing? We're not playing Tottenham or Burnley. It'll be a foreign team. England under 21s versus Russia under 20. Russia? So I look at the names on this piece of paper and think, oh my God. Didn't do Russian at school, didn't do English at school, never mind Russian. So I'm looking at these names thinking, what am I going to do? What, can't get any help now, too late, and who the hell's going to help me? So read the England team out and then the Russian team. Well, it must have been an utter disaster. But I just sort of breathed in, thought, just deep breath and think of England and let's just go. Goalkeeper, rip me Corsic's off, something else off, something else. So I just got through that and thought, well, Mr. Oliver will just be getting stuck into me at the end of this. Yeah. But nothing happened. Nobody clocked it. So that was the worst memory. What are the best memories? Meeting, I suppose, just being part of a very small part, but just being part of the match day and Manchester United was a massive sort of motivation. Meeting the players on certain, doing this for players and that for players. Dennis Law was nicest person, wow, nicest player to me. Always made a foot, always came over sort of rough. Hello, kid, how are you, son, or whatever it is. Punch you in the stomach, punch you in the face, and walk off. So just to be on the fringes and part of it was a great thrill for me. And but apart from it, I can't think of any other great.
Tell you what, meeting Dennis Law, not many of the people we've had on this podcast over the last 5-6 years can say they've met Dennis Law. So I think you're quite well to grasp that as your favourite bit of the job. That's incredible. I was going to say, who is the most famous person you've ever had in the back of your car?
Martin Buchan was he was a very, very motivated, driven person.
And a captain of Manchester United, wasn't he?
Captain of Manchester. Yeah. I did a few years ago. I did a run a charity for raising funds, and Manchester United ex-players were invited to put a team in, and Martin Buchan was one of the Manchester United team. So I was on the first tee, sort of thanking people for coming and welcoming them and have a good game and just, sort of trying to be pleasant. And I remember Martin Buchan saying to the other three golfers, "No, we're not here to play golf. So don't get giddy. We're not here to play golf. We're here to win this." And I'm stood on the tee thinking, yeah, that's it. That's the difference
We'll
between
lose it.
professional sport and amateur sport. Others turned up for a nice afternoon hitting a golf ball. He turned up to win.
I know. I've been very fortunate, Alwyn and Rich. I've been very fortunate to have met Dennis many, many times. God rest his soul,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's everything that Alwyn says. A really lovely fella, very funny man, very funny. And I did a lot of stuff. And towards the end of Sir Alex's reign, for just maybe a couple of years, I did a lot of events with Sir Alex and Dennis together, because Sir Alex always says he was his hero, so I ended up doing quite a bit. I've done a lot with Martin as well, and as you say, Alwyn, he's still driven, isn't he? I mean, he worked for the was it the PFA? I think he worked for the Professional Footballers Association. He had a role there when he finished football, and very driven man, Martin, and a real character as well, a real Scottish sense of dry humour, But
yeah. we are lucky, aren't we? I've got to say, and that's what cascades all of the work we've all done. Depending on whenever it was at our clubs, we've been lucky enough to meet not just some of the current players, but the legends of the club. I see it with Alistair Robertson at West Brom, Brendan Batson as well, who's similarly done a lot of work for the PFA. They're both they're just absolute stalwarts of the game. And again, someone like Ali Robertson, you see it every week when we speak to him up on stage ahead of the game. He's just it is win at all costs. Win at all costs.
Win at all.
That's all and he's a defender, so he always wants a clean sheet and he always wants to win at all costs. And it is brilliant to see. It is brilliant. Well, and obviously your time came to an end at Old Trafford, and I wonder if on that point when you had to kind of hand the duties over, how did that feel? And how old were you at that point? Because it still strikes me that you were quite young when you did this role anyway.
24, 25.
I mean, women, finishing then. And yeah, well, how did it feel when you had to hand over the role?
Well, it was driven by me. It was me saying, look, I'm working for Cadbury's. They want me in London. They want me in Glasgow. Very sad, because it was an end, because I've been there from being 11. So 11, say, to 25, part of your life, isn't it?
Yeah, you're ball boy and then working for when you look at it like that, wow.
It was, I suppose at the time, it wasn't a big shock and it wasn't a big disconnect, because it was me that's saying I can't do this, and I've got to earn my living, and I've got to look at a career. But so at the time, fairly normal, fairly flat, but then after you leave it and you realise what you've left and who you've left, and the match day and the whole sort of experience, not nice, because it's football becomes a massive part of your life, doesn't it? You see spectators on the telly today going mad, going berserk when somebody scores a goal. We didn't go mad or berserk in my day. You cheered, you were happy, but you weren't in front of the television with your arms raging. And so football, so important to millions of people that, it was a time, it was a change, it was a move, but it couldn't be avoided. So at the time it was fairly passive, but only when you lose it, you realise what you've lost.
Did you go back as a fan to hear what the new person was like?
As a fan,
Yeah.
we had season tickets. So when I was 3, my parents had season tickets and I was sat on my dad's knee. At 25, I then sort of leave this part-time job that was really, really a great, great experience in life for me. I think we got season tickets then. I got married when I was about 25, 26, had 2 kids. And when the Stretford end was extended, Ken Merritt was secretary. And nice man. And I phoned up and I said, I'd like some season tickets in the new stand. So he said, come down and I'll show you what we're doing. So I went down and showed me what we're doing. So when the new stand was built, we had 4 season tickets that we must have had now for 30 years, still got them. There's a plaque on the seat. We've had it for, all the seats have got our names on, because there was a certain period when if you'd get your seats for, I think it was 25 years, they put your name. So still got them. So I go to Old Trafford infrequently now, but love when I'm there and it's 5-3 and Alan walks towards the tunnel and says, Old Trafford, welcome, I think, and the music starts and the teams come out. I think this is the greatest place on earth to be. Why am I not here? Why am I not here every match? So that, so that all comes rushing back, and I love to be there.
Yeah.
And then
it is, do you know what? It's a brilliant moment. Sorry, I know. It's just, it is. It's a brilliant moment because it's the one thing we talk about on the podcast the most is what we get to do in that 5 minutes before kickoff and what it means to the rest of the ground.
It's tremendous. Today is a different world than my day, and what you guys do is just tremendous because it's part of the thrill, it's part of the build-up, it's part of the excitement, and it's theatre, isn't it? You're absolutely, it's theatre. And the teams come out and Alan says, Old Trafford, welcome. And you just stand in your seat and you think, what a place to be. I've got to come here every week. And then the match goes, you watch the match, you get back to the car park, you sit in the car park for an hour and a quarter, not moved an inch, and you think, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is so it takes me 6.5 hours to go to a game. From leaving here, getting back, it's about 6.5 hours due to parking, due to traffic.
Always, yep.
And is there a connection with Stockport County?
So no, there was no connection with Stockport County at all. I'm a Manchester United man. I'm a Manchester United fan. I got a phone call in 2010 from a chap who says, do you remember me? So I said, to be perfectly honest, when did we last meet? Rather than say, no, I don't know who the hell I'm talking to. When did we last meet? And he said, about 50, 60 years ago. We went to school together. Secondary school together. Yeah, so this is a chap that has obviously how he remembered me, I don't know. So he said, look, I'm a Stockport County fan. Stockport County are in administration. If we don't take this off the administrator's hands, he's going to liquidate the club. You're a Stockport lad. You were brought up in Stockport. Stockport County needs you. We need 500,000 to buy this business off the administrator. So I meet him, cutting a long story short. I say, well, do my best to help you raise the money because it's a football club and love to help if I can. So I raise some money. He raises some money and we buy Stockport County from the administrator. And that was in 2010. So that's about the story there. And then they asked me to be chairman for that season, which I don't want to do because I've raised the money. I'm thinking my term is over, but certain things happen where they asked me to be chairman, so I agreed to do it for a period of time. But what an experience that was, because it's something in July that we bought the club. No manager, no assistant manager, 3 players.
What year is this, Alwyn, again?
I think it's 2010.
Wow.
So it's July, season kicks off mid-August. 3 players, no manager, and what a real struggle that was. So Paul Simpson, who used to play for City,
yeah,
I appointed Paul as manager. Great lad, lovely family, did a brilliant job. So that was that was the involvement with Stockport County.
What a journey, Alwyn. I mean, you should do a book.
It was again a life experience. You'd never believe, would you, that somebody would ring you up, you'd raise some money, and you just wouldn't believe it. But these things happen, and it's great they do. So it was a lovely time there. As United was a lovely time for me as well.
It sounds like it. It sounds like, well, we've had a lovely time too hearing about it. So thank you very much.
Alwyn, it's been incredible, and it's been one of the most engaging, endearing podcasts that we've done, and your CV is incredible. I mean, I just love it, and you're so clear and concise. I hope I'm as clear as concise when I'm getting on a little bit more as well in a mature way, and as a compliment, I mean that. You're so clear. It. Yeah, you're so clear.
I love it. I could listen to your voice for a long time, Owen. I genuinely could. Yes, indeed.
Well, I'm not used to these compliments, so I'm very grateful. It's been, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I love my time at United. And thank you. I've never had this opportunity. I don't speak to people about the way we've spoken today. So thank you for giving me the chance, the opportunity.
Absolutely. Very grateful. Owen, thank you very much. Wonderful to hear your stories with us today. Alan, thank you as always as well. Good to see you. Best of luck to everyone if they still have bits and bobs to tie up at the end of this season. And then we'll look forward to a little rest before it all starts again, before we even know it.
And of course, as we wrap it up, a tenuous link here, Rich. We have got 3 clubs in the Northwest, and we might as well keep talking about Stockport County as well as Salford and Bolton, because the playoffs.
Exactly. This is what I mean. There's Wembley left, right and centre. Wherever you look for the Northwest, they will be descending on Wembley.
Yeah.
Good luck to Wembley.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Owen, thank you very much. Alan, thank you very much. Good to see you both. All right.